And it's not 6 o'clock till the clerk tells us it's 6 o'clock. So I don't know what cell phone carrier you're on, but mine and these are not on the same. So you just let me know. Really? Okay, we're legal. Welcome, everybody, to the Tuesday, March 8th, 2022 Mount Pleasant Town Council meeting in council chambers. It's good to see everybody on a day like this, even though it's hard to come inside when the weather's so nice. We have an agenda that has been published. The first item on that will be a prayer by Chaplain Rob Dewey, and then the pledge is going to be led by Troop 20 from Mount Pleasant with John Fortson as their leader. They are earning their citizenship community merit badge. So please stand for the prayer and the pledge.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we stop and just remember what's going on across the world, and just remember the war, and just take a moment of silence to lift up that terrible situation. Closer to home, we just thank you for those that have been elected to serve us, the mayor, council, and those appointed within the different emergency response agencies, and those that are serving this town to make it even better. We thank you for the agenda, and we just ask your peace that passes understanding to be with us this evening. In your holy and blessed name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. If our scouts would come down and lead us. Love to have y'all down front and center. And our flag is back here if y'all want to. All right, I don't know who your troop leader is, but when you're ready, lead us on.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank y'all very much. How about a hand for those nice? Item number 3 is approval of the agenda. Do we have a motion? Have a motion to approve?
Second.
And a second. Any discussion? All in favor of approval of the agenda as published, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. The agenda is approved. Item 4, public hearings, awards, and presentations. We are going to start with an autism awareness proclamation with Layla Luna and Just Be. Where's Layla? Is that you there? There you are. I'll try to read the right proclamation here, but we got 2 good ones tonight. Layla, if you'll join me up here. If I remember from when I first met you, I think you came here from California, is that right? And you were doing this, and it's a wonderful thing. And I happen to be the father of a certified behavioral therapist who works with children with autism. So this really fits perfect. So we are declaring, and I won't read the entire thing, but whereas since 1970, the month of April has been designated to spread awareness about autism spectrum disorder, which is a complex developmental disability that affects everyone differently and usually appears by age 2 or 3. And it is 4 times more common in boys than girls and refers to a broad range of conditions characterized by challenges with social, emotional, communication and motor skills, repetitive behaviors, speech, nonverbal communication, sensory sensitivities, and difficulties making eye contact. And there are other things that it mentions. A person with ASD can have a distinct set of strengths and challenges in which they learn, think, and problem solve, and vary in their daily requirements for assistance. And children with ASD grow into adults who need to be educated and trained in skilled labor, and often face challenges for necessary accommodations in the workplace. Whereas, while there is currently no cure, research reveals that high-quality early intervention can improve learning, communication, and social skills, as well as brain development. Now, therefore, I, Will Haney, Mayor of the town of Mount Pleasant, do proclaim April as Autism Awareness Month and encourage residents to become aware of autism indicators, seek early intervention, and support those living with autism. thank you both for the work. Now, a little sports-oriented one. You may know that the field goal kicker for the South Carolina Gamecocks, now headed to the pros, is a Mount Pleasant, born and raised athlete, Parker White. And here to join me in a proclamation for him are his parents, Randy and Jennifer Howe, his sister, Peyton White, and his grandmom, Linda Hudson. Would y'all please come forward? Is Parker with us?
Yeah, we should have Parker on the line here. Parker, can you hear us okay?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
He's not on the screen.
Parker, I'm gonna read this in your honor first, and then we will let you make some comments, if you will. Good to have you all
If
here.
you'd like
Thank
to
you.
show yourself, we can put you up on the screen.
All right.
Okay. I'll do that. I'm kind of struggling to hear a little bit, but
Okay.
my best.
Whereas Parker White is a Mount Pleasant native and Wando High School two-time Special Teams Player of the Year. And whereas Parker White recently topped the record books in 2021 by becoming the University of South Carolina's all-time leading scorer. And whereas the University of South Carolina kicker Parker White broke the Gamecocks' all-time scoring record on Thursday, December 30th, 2021, with his 30-yard kick against North Carolina in the Duke's Mayo Bowl. And whereas now in his 6th year at the University of South Carolina, White is a perfect 28 of 28 on extra points, 15 of 17 on field goal attempts in 2021, and White has recorded 70 points for the Gamecocks in 2021 and has 360 points in his career. Now, therefore, I, Will Haney, father of a Clemson grad, I might add as well, mayor of the town of Mount Pleasant, do hereby proclaim April 3rd, 2022, honoring Jersey number 43, Parker White Day in the town of Mount Pleasant. Parker, thank you.
Can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I couldn't thank Mayor Haney enough and the whole town council for even thinking of me for something like this. It's such a huge honor, and I never thought back in high school, going to Wando, that something like this could unfold at Carolina or just whatever. So it's been a wild journey over the past 6 years or so since going to Wando, and I can't thank God enough for help guiding me through some of these rough patches and stuff at Carolina, and then also thanking him for everything that's going well. And then also thankful to my parents for being there, for helping accept this great honor. So for them taking time out of their day to go tonight. I'm sorry I couldn't be there. I just got back from Charlotte about 30 minutes ago, trying to kick a little bit up there and work on getting ready for Pro Day soon. So got a lot of exciting things coming up. So hopefully the NFL stuff can work out. But I'll let God kind of guide me to that. So hopefully that'll work, but we'll see. But thank y'all, and thank everybody so much.
Laura Hyatt, she's a friend of the family. She helped pull this all together, so thank you.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Okay.
Next, we have Longevity Awards. Chief Arnold will be making a presentation.
Captain Martin, if you would please join me. Good evening, Mayor, members of council. Tonight we have the opportunity to recognize Captain Martin. Captain Martin joined the police department in March of 1997, and like all of our officers, he started in the patrol division. He very quickly developed a talent and a passion for narcotics investigations and making drug cases. This passion led to his selection to become a member of the narcotics unit in 1999. During his time in there, he excelled at working in an undercover capacity. He helped out many local surrounding law enforcement agencies in that capacity, making very significant cases. In 2001, he was selected to become a member of the SWAT team and served as a sniper. From 2000 to 2004, he was a member of the Charleston Area DEA Task Force, worked many high-level cases in that capacity. In 2005, he was promoted to the rank of corporal and worked in the patrol division. In 2007, he was promoted to sergeant and went back to investigations and served for 5 years as the supervisor of that unit in a critical role. In 2011, he was promoted to the rank of lieutenant and served as a watch commander in field operations. In 2015, he ascended to his current rank of captain. And after a brief period in patrol, he returned to criminal investigations to lead the bureau. That bureau encompasses our detectives, our narcotics office, and our crime scene and evidence. He is a recipient of the Supervisor of the Year Award and the Investigator of the Year Award, a graduate of the FBI National Academy, and received numerous letters of commendations from citizens and other law enforcement agencies praising his dedication and professionalism. Blair, I want to thank you for your leadership and instilling in our detectives the same drive and determination that you have for figuring out who done it and catching the bad guys that thought they got away with it. All right? Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. This moves us to item D, public hearing. A public hearing to receive input on a proposed Seventh Amendment to the development agreement by and between CDM of Charleston and the town of Mount Pleasant. If you read all of this, this has to do with Carolina Park, so I'll turn it over to Ms. Reed.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. As you mentioned, this is the second and final reading, public hearing for the amendment with Carolina Park Development Agreement. And this has to do with changing an exhibit attached to the development agreement that would alter the access points. This will be up for final reading later on your agenda, and I'm happy to answer questions.
All right, thank you very much. Any questions from council? Is there anyone from the public here to comment on this public hearing? All right, there being none, I have to bang the gavel because the public hearing is a standalone event and this public hearing is closed. This brings us to item 5, approval of the minutes from the February 8th Town Council meeting and the January.
Approval.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and we have a second. Is there any discussion?
Yes, sir, I have one thing to say.
All right,
Thank you to our clerk for putting together 94 pages of minutes. I read them all. We had a couple of small, very small changes, and it dealt with things that she had no way of knowing had happened. But thank you very much, Christine, for everything you do.
thank you.
with the minutes.
Appreciate that. All right, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor of approval of those two sets of minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The minutes are approved. Item 6 is public comment. If you're here to make public comment, please come forward when your name has been called. As you saw on the sign out store, as has been our custom, you have 2 minutes to speak. Please give your name and address, and the staff will let you know when your time is up. Mr. DeMore.
Thank you, Mayor. First speaker is Stephen Morris.
Thank you. My name is Stephen Morris. I live at 1134 Carter Avenue. And I've been living there since 1965. And I've seen a lot of changes and a lot of things come and go. But my decision tonight is to annex into the city. And I respect those that has a different view. And so therefore tonight, I say yes to the annexation, and thank you very much.
Next speaker is Bill Ennis.
Hi, good evening. I'm Bill Ennis. I'm president of the Low Country Tennis Association Board of Directors. We handed this out to you previously, if we could refer to this during my 2 minutes. I'm here to talk about tennis capacity in Mount Pleasant. So it's a tennis court capacity results, and then I'm going to have a request for you at the end. So if you could go to the first page on court capacity. What's become the golden age of tennis in the United States has become the golden age of tennis in Mount Pleasant. And with that, the Low Country Tennis Association has grown to the 6th largest tennis association in the United States. We're larger than the state of Nevada, the state of New Jersey. We're larger than Los Angeles, Chicago, Orlando. I could go on. And the LCTA is the largest tennis league in the state. And Mount Pleasant, by far, is the largest area for active tennis players in the state. So what I'm here to talk about is the growth in Mount Pleasant has created an environment of total capacity. And that's total capacity tennis for the town, where all the tennis courts that are available to play on are being used when we play, but the growth of the Mount Pleasant tennis player continues to grow at a double-digit clip on a yearly basis, which has overwhelmed the capacity and has created an issue for the players and for the facilities. So if you look at the next page, on Low Country Association players, we have 4,500 active players at the end of 2021. We just started the spring season. We've gone over 5,000. We added 500 new players, 50 new teams in 2021 for the spring. And as you can see, we skew female, we skew older, and we vote within the LCTA. So the next page shows you the Empire State Building, and that is Mount Pleasant. And so that is 1,400 players in 2021, 1,700 players today, bigger than Lexington, Hilton Head, Rock Hill, Myrtle Beach, et cetera. So we need more courts. I will show you on the next page. That's it. Okay, thank you. We'll be back.
Thank you.
You want to go?
Do we get an extra 2 minutes for me?
I would have to defer to the,
I was on the,
Sure.
do you
Yes,
mind?
ma'am. I believe your name's on here.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
what
Hi.
I want to say, we don't allow anyone to give their time, but if you sign up, yes, you're another
Okay,
speaker.
thank you very much. I'm April Gift, and I'm with the United States Tennis Association, and I live in Mount Pleasant. I started a program back in 2014 when I came to this in 2013, and I have over 200 players playing 3 seasons a year. And also, when I came here, I was surprised that the high schools didn't have courts for these kids to play on, and that we had to use facilities. 70% of those players that are playing 3 seasons a year, they are from Mount Pleasant. Mount Pleasant right now is the most active area for USTA adult members, and we also have a population of 86,982 people in this town with 16 town courts, and that's 1 court per 5,430 people. To give you an example, Lexington, South Carolina, they have 2 large facilities, which are 40 courts, and they have an actual population of 21,334, and they have 1 court per 508 people. So that's a big difference. If we had additional courts, additional players could be accommodated at the facilities, generate more revenue, which would provide an economic impact to the area, creating revenue to hotels and food establishments, even by hosting tournaments and also events. Also, we have a Tri-County School League, which has 14 schools that are participating. There are probably three teams from each of those schools that are participating. We've run out of courts. Those kids are now playing all over the Low Country, And 65% of the teams are from, the players are from the Mount Pleasant area. And they're also going to other schools, but they're from Mount Pleasant. So we need more courts. I'm asking real quick here, Mount Pleasant, how do we move the needle to have a capital improvement plan to fund this project? I am passionate about the sport, and I hope we have further conversation. Thank you.
Both Holly and Sylvie Kingston, please.
Good evening. I'm here to continue, I'm Holly Kingston, 304 Hawthorne Street. I'm here to continue voicing concerns around the decisions regarding field space and club sports. This 2 minutes is not enough. We need a forum to come to a mutual understanding. Some concessions were made to pacify the clubs, but this doesn't solve the bigger issue we have here. You've been provided examples within our own state on how we can come together and do something awesome for the children in Mount Pleasant. It's been overstated that the rec department provides a fantastic service, but club sports offer something that the rec simply cannot, and especially for girls. Mr. Mayor, council members, I urge you to take a closer look at who sits on this committee and flush out any biases that may exist. Timely that it would be International Women's Day, and on the heels of our U.S. women's national soccer team winning their equal pay suit, it's 2022, and we are still talking about equity for female athletes. It's careless decisions that you, who oversee the rec department, have allowed this to happen, and they have a profound impact on the young female athletes in our town. What the rec has offered this spring is football, and while it's open to girls, there is not a realistic path forward for females in football. Rec soccer and lacrosse do not offer equivalent opportunities for girls. Rec programs offer entry-level options for sports and are not a path to college scholarships or national spotlights. According to the Women's Sports Foundation and 25 years of research, by age 14, girls are more likely to drop out of sports at twice the rate of boys. A contributing factor to this is the lack of quality training and facilities. I invite you to a training session for any of the clubs in town to simply observe and seek to understand, because clearly this is a misunderstanding. The recent public survey that you put out was ill-designed, and the questions were leading. We have come far in our society around equity, but allowing these types of decisions have health and financial implications that will impact our daughters for years into adulthood. We can do better, and I urge you to make this a priority now. We can't wait for the referendum. Can you reach this one?
Yes. Hi, my name is Sylvie Kingston, and I will turn 8 years old tomorrow. I am in second grade at Mount Pleasant Academy. I'm here today to stand up for all the kids that play club sports. Without field space, me and thousands of other kids cannot achieve our goals. My sister Scarlett is 11 years old. We both have dreams to play soccer in college, just like my parents did, and to someday play professionally like Alex Morgan and Tobin Heath. When you take away our fields, you're taking away our dreams. I've played many rec sports, and I've had a lot of fun. It was time for me to move on to club soccer. When other kids tried to have this same experience, you're not really letting them have that. When you made this decision, you weren't thinking about how this would affect other people. It's not fair that you made this decision before asking anyone else for their opinion. It seems like our free empty space is always being turned into buildings and apartments. We need more green space for kids to play. I'm asking you to work together with the rec department to open these fields and share them with the clubs as soon as possible. Thank you for your time today. I can be available for comments anytime. And I had to miss practice for this, so please don't make me come back again.
Thank you, Sylvie. I think she might have earned a merit badge. So.
Howard Chapman.
My name is Howard Chapman. I live at 824 Natchez Circle in Mount Pleasant. And I'm speaking tonight about an ordinance we passed last month, trying to decide where hotels should go within the town. And I want to thank all my council member friends who worked with us on this, and in particularly Councilmember Whitley, our chairman of the Planning Committee. One thing that I wanted to say last month, but I failed to do, that vote was not about any particular hotel or any particular individual who might have wanted to build a hotel in Mount Pleasant. That individual builds wonderful hotels. It was just the wrong place that they were looking at. I hope that in the future, you might look at some of the places that we designated for a nice hotel within the town, preferably up north on 41. But be that as it may, it was not about any individual or any hotel. It was about where the town and our comp plan said they should go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Richard Taylor.
Hello, my name is Richard Taylor. I live at 1137 Louise Terrace. I'm here to speak about the annexation of that property and the rezoning of it. My family's owned that property since 1960. I've seen a lot of things come and go, a lot of changes in that area. I've seen a lot of changes in Mount Pleasant, as I'm sure some of y'all have as well. We've got Walmart that is surrounding us as the shopping center itself is growing day by day. Ashley Furniture just came in. We have Cambridge Lakes, which is on the other side of me, that have 3-story buildings, condos or apartments. There's like 100 and some of them, I think. I'm not sure the exact number. When you turn in the street to come in Louise Terrace, you have a 3-story tall commercial building. So I think it's an office complex. On the head of the street at Carter Avenue, you have another 3-story commercial building. The majority of the homes that are in our little area there are rental properties. There's very few homeowners that actually own the home, that live in their homes. I'm asking that the town council approve this annexation and the rezoning of this property. If I thought that the development that we are thinking about doing or proposing would hurt this property or the neighborhood, I wouldn't even consider it. I mean, I think it will enhance the property, enhance the neighborhood. It will make life a lot better for the neighbors in there. The green space that's going to be provided, the parks that's going to be provided. And I thank you. I hope y'all will vote for it.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor.
Russ Seaman.
Russ Seaman, Seaman Whiteside, 501 Wando Park Boulevard. Speaking on Louise Terrace Townhomes, we are the applicant here with the developer, Michael Harper. He's also signed up to speak. I just want to point out a few quick things. The comp plan recommends future land use of mixed neighborhood, which is what we're asking for. The townhouse zoning is supported by the comp plan under that mixed neighborhood designation. This is a great opportunity to annex a donut hole into the town. Provides an opportunity to improve the drainage on Louise Terrace in front of the project. It's an opportunity to provide a more attainable product for the town versus another large single-family house, which we see so much of. This mixed neighborhood recommendation is the right one when you look at the context around us. The 3-story apartments, the commercial that surrounds us, the Walmart, the shopping center that we back up to. And that multifamily is very visible from both Louise Terrace and Carter. There's a exhibit that I provided to all of you that shows some of the images taken from those streets. We're talking about 2 townhouse buildings that are facing an existing apartment development. They're not facing any single family. The adjacent apartments are about The buildings are about 220 feet long. The maximum townhouses you can do together in the town is 6, which would be about 130 feet long. So we're about, in terms of scale and size of building, we're about half of those apartments, or even less. So that's just that logical step down that the comp plan talks about, going from multifamily to townhouse to single family, which is, we feel like we're fitting that bill. We understand that the Cambridge Lake condos are in support of our proposal, and we ask that you please support it as well. Thank you.
Michael Harper.
Michael Harper with Gramling Brothers, 502 King Street, Charleston. Mr. Mayor and members of the council, I just would like to piggyback on what Russ and Reverend Morris and Mr. Taylor were saying. And to do so, I'd like to just bring to the attention of the council the exhibit that we had prepared to hopefully help illuminate part of what we are trying to accomplish with this particular project. And I want to make just 3 very quick points. The first of which is that this project is only dealing with Louise Terrace. As you can see, if you have the exhibit in front of you, the site plan lays out completely on Louise Terrace. It's staring at, obviously, the condo complex across the street. And one thing that I'd really like to just make sure the council understands is that, because I know that there has been a petition that has been circulated here just showing some neighborhood support or lack thereof, but if you look at the second page of the exhibit, and all this information is pulled straight from GIS, so it's publicly available, you can get a sense of the tax classifications of these properties, whether they're 4% or 6%. So if you look at the Louise Terrace properties that we are working on here for some type of high-density residential, you can see that everything within the block that's bounded by Louise Terrace with Carter in the rear, every property in that block is at 6% tax bracket, with the exception of one, and that would be the property of Reverend Morrison, who does not support this petition. So we feel like that is relevant, and if you look at the first exhibit, our first page of the exhibit, you can get a sense of, there are 4 or 5 actual owner-occupant homeowners in the neighborhood that did not support the petition, or that did support the petition, which we feel like is telling in regard to who is opposing or supporting the project. The other 2 quick points I'd like to make is, number 1, the project will create a significant amount of green space, which is not prevalent in this neighborhood. We'll also add stormwater capacity to it, which we feel like is needed here. Thank you.
Chad McPeters.
Mr. Mayor, may I have 3 minutes, please?
As explained to me by the parliamentarian, that would have required a motion at the beginning because it was stated as 2 minutes. We operate under Robert's rules, so everyone gets the same amount of time, which is 2 minutes tonight. Thank you.
First of all, thank you for your service to our community. My name is Chad McPeters. I live at 1147 Carter Avenue with my wife and 3 children. At the previous Town of Mount Pleasant Planning Committees on January 19th and 16th, I presented a signed petition by 22 residents of Louise Terrace that opposed the rezoning and annexation of 1131 and 1137 Louise Terrace. We're a small neighborhood of 18 single-family homes, and an overwhelming majority, 12 out of 15 occupied homes, are opposed to the rezoning to townhomes. 5 of us spoke at the last meeting, 5 of us spoke at the first meeting, 2 of us at the first one. At those meetings, the planning committee agreed with us that the development of this development would have a negative impact on the residents of Louise Terrace and the surrounding neighborhoods. Louise Terrace is a snapshot of what Mount Pleasant used to be. Nice-sized homes smaller homes on nice-sized parcels with lots of open space, native trees, and abundant wildlife. People are drawn to our neighborhood for that very reason, to utilize it as open space and ride bicycles with their children. Just to recap about a major point from the previous meetings, that the draft presentation states that the building heights must be context sensitive and provide transitions not to overwhelm adjacent existing developments of smaller scale buildings. this development would absolutely be 20 foot away from a single-story, single-family homes, and it would cast a shadow on all of those neighbors. The future land use map includes our neighborhood as a mixed-use neighborhood, but putting a block of townhouses would not be consistent with what is in the neighborhood. Cambridge Lakes is the closest high density, but it's 200 feet away with a row of trees and water in between. I'm asking you, we want to develop ourselves. We are a growing community. We want to grow on our own, and we just ask you to follow the existing zoning regulations. Thank you.
Danny Webb.
I'm Danny Webb. I live at 1175 Carter Avenue. I am opposed to the townhouses. The gentleman mentioned that the 6% and 4% on the taxes. I am an owner resident. I'm just not smart enough to get down to the 4%. So you can't look at the 6% and the 4%. The drainage system in that neighborhood will not accept the type of development that they want to do, and I don't think that they will make it adequate whenever you let them. Obviously, this isn't going like they wanted to, or we wouldn't be here right now. Right now, what they're doing is they're pitting neighbor against neighbor in our small neighborhood. They've threatened one neighbor with a 3-story building outside of his bedroom window if he signed that petition, which he did not sign. He told me he did what he had to do. I come from off of McCants Drive. All over that area, people are tearing down one house and building back 2. They're tearing down 2 houses and building back 3 or 4, even one case 5 near Hill Street. Give us the same courtesy that the people down in the village area have. It's a small neighborhood, and the overwhelming majority of the people that live there and intend to live there don't want the townhouses. The only people that want the townhouses are people that do not live there or do not intend to stay living there. Thank you very much.
That's all I have, sir.
All right. Is there anyone who did not sign up? Yes, sir. Come forward, name, address, 2 minutes, please.
Thank you very much for me being able to take time up here. I'm Craig Kroll. I live at 1133 Carter Avenue along with my 87-year-old mom. We built that house together ourselves in 1986, and it took us 2 years to do it. When we first moved there, behind us, there was nothing but some old houses, chickens running around in the street. We had a lake, and through time, we watched that develop. Walmart became that. But it's behind us. We don't see it. We have a big privacy fence. We have growth of vegetation and trees, so that still doesn't have any reflection on us. The different condominiums that have been built, the one over on Louise Terrace is once again way back from where the street is, so once again, that does not parlay to any part to our little circle we're in. We moved there because we knew it was going to stay like an urban area. I lived in Mount Pleasant my entire life. Mom and I, we picked that place that had an old burnt down house, and I told her, Mom, I'm gonna build your house there, and we're gonna stay in a nice little small area for the rest of our lives. And she's still there with me now, and she would be here right now if she could, speaking for this. I see the trees that are gonna be taken down for sewage, and right now that's where an owl lives. So all these big trees you wanna take out, and then what people say you won't see is this 35-foot tall condominium. Well, where I see the moon come up, I won't see it there anymore because there's gonna be a big building there with windows. And if you add that as mixed people living there, rentals and like that, it's gonna completely change the complexity of our small little horseshoe. And then if it is annexed in, how many of us are gonna be able to hook up to the sewer and afford it? We can't ourselves. We like our nice little small part of that town. It still reminds me of Mount Pleasant, what it used to be. And I love this town, and I'm gonna be here forever, and I hope we can keep this as it is. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Name, address, 2 minutes, please.
I'm Allison McAdams. I sent all of y'all a letter from my heart and a lot of pages on Louise Terrace. As you know, I'm really against it. My little house is right next to where this project would be. It would tower over me. I would be cut off from the neighborhood. This little neighborhood, they just want to have a home and a yard like the American dream. That they're not asking much, but just let them be peaceful and have trees and be able to walk and have their children ride the bikes in the streets and everything. One of the main things that bothers me about this townhouse thing, besides being so tall and dense, that 12 places would take the place of 2 houses. 3 if you count the double lot, you could say 3 houses and have 12. I don't know why you need that dense of anything, which means 24 cars on that one block. The neighborhood's only 2 blocks. 2 blocks, and that would be 24 cars on one block. The people don't want it. The zoning meeting, the people that went there, they denied it twice, and I hope you all will just hold to the zoning as it is. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Name, address, 2 minutes.
Layla Luna, and I'm the founder of Just Be. Thank you so much for the proclamation. Just Be was started because I'm a mom of a 13-year-old nonverbal boy, my son Rio, and we were kicked out of a restaurant because he was having a meltdown. And with autism growing, 1 out of every 44 kids in America is being diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. What Just Be is a training curriculum to teach businesses how to become sensory-friendly environments. Most families that have autistic children or adults, they don't go out of their house. They don't go out in public. They don't spend money in their local community because they're afraid of how they're going to be disrespected, even discriminated against. What you experienced during COVID-19 by being isolated in your house, not being able to go out in public, can be a life of autism. I'm here just to spread the word and ask businesses to take the pledge, to learn how to become sensory-friendly environments, to understand that this is one of the growing population. And I want to just thank you because, Mayor Haney, my son, being nonverbal, has no voice. I'm his voice. And I'm the voice of millions of other families that feel just like this. So this is a great honor, and I'm so incredibly thankful. But this is not about changing the child to fit the environment. This is about changing the environment to fit the child. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Is that it? One more?
Perry Rourke, 2004 Brickcomb Parkway. Wish I could be half as eloquent as the young lady that spoke earlier, but when the Recreation Department is making decisions on what programs to offer, facility utilization, and facility development, where do they obtain the information that helps them make these decisions? As a lifelong resident who has coached multiple rec department teams and the father of 2 boys that play youth sports in this town, I have never received anything prior to the other week from the Recreation Department asking for input. I understand we have a recreation committee comprised of 3 members of council that represent us, and I'm not sure why we don't have more members of council on this committee. Is my understanding is there could be up to 5 appointed to that committee. It would be great if council would consider creating a recreation advisory committee, something similar in structure to the planning commission. 9 appointed members, resident members, that could collaborate with our heads of the recreation department officials on different programs and initiatives. What better advisors could you ask for than the residents that actually utilize these facilities and programs? 55 seconds left. The last thing I'd like to say is a little disappointed when I came up tonight and I still saw 2 minutes on the clock. I brought this up last week. It's in the ordinance that the residents are allowed up to 3.
We've already addressed that.
Yes, my public comment right now. I'm still in my public comment though,
You have
correct?
2 minutes.
Yes, I'd like to have my extra time back. What I would like to do is, the chair said that there could be a motion prior to the meeting. Next week, I'd love to see any member of council, I know there's multiple of you that supported the 3 minutes, actually make a motion prior to that meeting, and let's see a raise of hands of all the members of council that are willing to let the members, the residents speak for 3 minutes. And let's see the hands of the ones that don't want to allow us our 3 minutes. Thank you.
All right. Yes, sir.
Reverend Rob Dewey, 598 East Hobcaw Drive. My thanks to the Recreation Committee. They have supported pickleball. You all have supported pickleball. We're having a blast. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the positivity. Did you want to speak? Yes, sir. If you'll come forward, give your name and address in 2 minutes, please.
My name's Leland Morrison, and I live at 1519 Village Square. One thing, I was just listening to some people talking about how we need more, not parks, but fields. And I think that there's perfectly enough fields, knowing from experience, and knowing that there's lots of fields around Charleston. It's just that you need to actually, like, I know some of them you need to reserve, and I think some people just need to learn how to, not wait until one's available and try and just get it right there. And also, one thing I'd like to say is, the town doesn't need to give money to club sports. Club sports is all about a club that something like a yacht club or country club supports. Like country club would support golfing, or yacht club support or sailing. And I just think that people that ask the town for money for club sports is just insane, because club sports the whole idea of club sports is clubs supporting the sports, not the town. Thank you.
Thank you for speaking up, and I hope you get 2 merit badges. All right, that will conclude our public comments. Thank you, Mr. Demura. This moves us to item 7 on our agenda, consent agenda items. Do we have a motion?
Move for approval.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a motion to approve all of the consent agenda items, which would be, just for clarification, A through E. We have a second. Is there any discussion?
I've changed it.
All right, all in favor of the motion to approve the consent agenda items, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the consent agenda items are approved unanimously.
That's final readings of consent agenda items A through E.
This brings us to Section 8, Planning New Business. Item number 1 is first reading of an ordinance providing for the annexation of half an acre on
To
Louise
approve.
Terrace.
Second.
Sorry.
Motion to approve,
We have
item
a
1.
Motion to approve and a second. This is the annexation of 1137 Louise Terrace. Is there any discussion? All right, all in favor of the motion to approve, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the motion passes unanimously.
First reading ordinance number 22020.
Item number 2 is an ordinance to zone to townhouse district an approximately 5/8 acre tract. This is
Motion
one-
to deny.
We have a motion to deny, and we have a second. We are in discussion.
Yes, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chapman.
Inadvertently, in this section, we're not listing the votes from the committee or the commission. I'd just like to say that on number 2, the vote was 3-1, which would have been in accord with Councilmember Whitley's motion. I was the one opposed during the committee, but I just wanted to, for the record, note that it was a 3-1 vote.
3-1 vote to deny?
Deny.
To deny, okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, may I?
Yes, ma'am.
So initially, when this came before me, I looked at it as, well, this is an area surrounded by sort of commercial area, some multifamily, and, the comp plan calls for mixed residential, which we've talked about includes R1 townhouse and sort of it includes multiple different options that would be in fitting with the comp plan. And what is there now, which is R1, is in line with the comp plan as part of this mixed residential. Hearing from the members of the community, and then also hearing just this thought that because they're renters, that they have no sort of rights, or not rights, but like no say in what happens around them, just didn't sit quite right with me. I felt that you know, just because you're renting a space, and even if you're the owner, and if you're the owner of the space, what's going to happen is if this flips over to townhouse, then every other rental property in this place will flip over to townhouse as well. And the people that have lived there will be out of their homes, and the people who own their homes and have been there for forever are going to be surrounded on all sides, and who want to stay there in their single-family homes for the rest of their lives are going to be surrounded by high-density townhomes. And I just think, you know, in keeping with what the requests of the community are, there's opportunity to improve this area and to, you know, redevelop these homes into something, you know, a little bit, you know, redone and everything, but it doesn't need to be high-density townhomes. It can be R1.
Please refrain from comments. Yes, sir, Ms. Chapman.
Mr. Mayor, I respect Councilmember Whitley, but I would suggest that townhomes are not high density. Cambridge Lakes is high density. Townhomes are single family. Single family homes can also be built to 35 feet, just like townhomes can. I haven't made up my mind yet on how I'm going to vote on this, but I want it for the record. I live in a townhouse, and you can have a 35-foot single-family home. You can have a 35-foot townhouse. But townhomes are not high density. Cambridge Lakes is high density.
Yes, sir, Mr. Iacofano.
I believe that this, we're attempting and trying to get these donut holes all within the town limits, and we're annexing in, and it's very difficult, I would imagine, to want to be annexed and then it be a separate vote whether or not the zoning can be redone. So that puts you in a difficult situation. I also think this is an opportunity to what would be considered affordable housing in Mount Pleasant. I think this is an opportunity for affordable housing to be within the town limits and the much-needed affordable housing that we need, would be my opinion.
Yes, ma'am, Ms. Corley.
You know, I've been just thinking about this and just flip-flopping and just, you know, somebody says something and I think one way and then, but I think at this point, the affordable housing piece, we could look at that in two ways, right? So we could get 12 condos that could be affordable, we don't know, or letting those, you know, allowing those rental properties to be sold and developed. Now we're taking away affordable housing. That's kind of how I'm looking at it. But again, I still don't know. TikTok.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Hyatt.
I agree with Ms. Whitley and Ms. Corley. The comp plan does state, and the Planning Commission, both times that they heard about this property, voted against it unanimously the second time, and I think the first time they only had one vote for it. But because the two lots there are two lots that are being discussed separately. But anyways, their reasoning was that it wasn't in line with the rest of the neighborhood because the comp plan states that building heights must be context sensitive and provide transitions so as to not overwhelm adjacent existing developments of smaller scale buildings. So we're to consider these things, you know, on a case-by-case basis when we rezone on how they fit in with the area. These properties are affordable housing, is the way I look at it. Any new townhomes will not be affordable. Townhomes in Mount Pleasant sell for $650,000. I know because I have a friend that just bought one. So there's no way these will be more affordable than what's already there. Something could be done to improve the property. They could have asked for R4. They could, you know, a little more density that's still single family. But I am against overwhelming the neighborhood and with townhomes and increasing the density there. The existing Cambridge Lakes is far enough away. There's a buffer with retention ponds and bushes, so I don't feel that impacts the neighborhood as much as putting townhouses here will. So I'm against increasing the density to that.
Any other comments? Yes, sir. Sure.
I do enjoy the Cambridge Lakes is only one roadway away from the same similar type of roadway. I mean, it's not that far. I'm just would like to point that out when I look at the map. I mean, that's basically the width of a road compared to what is there now. I just would like to bring that up. I mean, that is, we have high density, one width of a road away from what is already there. I don't think that I don't think that the height is that much of a difference from what is already in place.
Yes, sir.
So I've been kind of torn on this one too. And I'm certainly not one to hide behind the comprehensive plan if I think that there are areas where the comprehensive plan maybe doesn't get it right. But I think in general, it's a good guiding principle. It's our guiding principle. And, you know, like I said, since I'm kind of torn on it, I'm just going to follow what the comprehensive plan says. And I think one of the gentlemen made a good point about it goes from heavy commercial to townhouses to single family. My neighborhood does the same thing. There's heavy commercial, then there's townhouses kind of right there, and then it switches to single family, and it does provide a nice transition. It provides more types of housing for young professionals, things like that. And so I'm just going to stick with the comprehensive plan on this one.
All right. Any other comments? Yes, sir, Mr. Chapman.
Mr. Mayor, I haven't made up my mind yet how I'm going to vote. But I do want to say that the people that live in this neighborhood are doing their best to improve their housing. They're doing a good job trying to fix up their housing. I hope, depending on how this goes, that if they would like to come into the town, I think we'd like to have them come into town. And if I could just ask for how many people are here supporting the townhouse zoning, and then how many people are here that are against the townhouse zoning. Could I ask them to stand up, please, sir? No, how many people are here supporting this?
Let me just ask the parliamentarian if we are.
Yes, sir, that's a chair decision. I think the council member has a right to ask that question.
Okay. I'll let you ask him. Yes.
First of all, I'd like to ask the people that are here in support of what's on our agenda, which is townhouse zoning. Could they please stand? Okay, thank you. And those people who are against the townhouse zoning and are in the neighborhood. And if this gentleman can't stand, don't make him stand. He's recorded, so, okay.
It's about even.
It looks like it's kind of even to me.
7-5.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, and that's all I have, sir.
Okay. Is there any other comment? I usually go last as the chair. I don't want to jump in front of anybody. Councilman Rambo and I were just talking. We represent the town on Mount Pleasant Waterworks. And we have, the town has an ordinance that requires if you are contiguous and you want wastewater, that you have to apply for annexation. The legal advice that Waterworks get is that since they are a separate elected body, they are not bound by that. But for how many years now, they have chosen to do that. Among the commissioners, I would say that they're adhering to that is hanging by a thread. I mean, the pressure to drop that you have to annex into the town to get sewer is getting very, very tough. Here we have an owner who has bought 2 pieces of property in a transitional area who has applied to come into the town, who would get sewer service for that. I don't know how many folks are out there, and I know everybody has their own decision, but I think when somebody is applying to come in, and we have control over the height, we have control over the density, we have control over the design, we will get the impact fees. The downside would be if the commissioners at Waterworks choose to drop that, you will get this in spades in every donut hole in this town. Because if they drop that, every place like this will sell. They will get, they'll get wastewater or sewer, and we'll have no control over it. We'll have all the impacts and none of the positive stuff. And I think this is an attempt and a very good attempt to do what we have asked people in donut holes to do, and that is to annex, develop within our guidelines, follow our comprehensive plan, and that's why and remember, this is a motion to deny, so I will be voting against the motion to deny. Don't vote wrong. We had that happen one time before. So a yes vote is to deny, a no vote is to not deny. Are we ready to vote? I think we'll have to do a roll call. So it is a motion to deny. If you want to deny, vote yes. If you don't want to deny, vote no. Madam Clerk.
Mr. Iacofano.
Nay.
Mr. Iacofano votes no. Mr. Rambo.
No.
Mr. Rambo votes no. Mr. Ritchie.
Yes.
Mr. Ritchie votes yes. Mr. Santos.
No.
Mr. Santos votes no. Ms. Whitley.
Yes.
Ms. Whitley votes yes. Mr. Chapman.
Yes.
Mr. Chapman votes yes. Ms. Corley.
Yes.
Ms. Corley votes yes. Ms. Hyatt.
Yes.
Ms. Hyatt votes yes. Mayor Haney.
No.
Mayor Haney votes no.
5-4.
5-4, so the motion to deny carries. So the annexation was passed on first reading and the zoning was denied. Next item, please.
This is a proposal to amend the Coaxum Tract. It's now called Moore's Landing. When it was adopted as the PD ordinance, it was Coaxum Tract. Adopted in 2016, it was a
Move for
PDCD.
approval.
We have a
Second.
motion to approve and a second. Is there any discussion? I do want to add, I understand from my meeting with our legal counsel yesterday that this does reduce density, which is not bad. All in favor of the motion to approve, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes.
First reading, ordinance number 22022.
Next, please.
And this is the final reading for the annexation.
Move to approve.
All right, we're back to Louise Terrace, and just for education's sake, although the numbers are different, one is 31 and one is 37, 1137, 11, these are contiguous properties.
Correct.
Yeah, next door, okay. So the motion is to approve the annexation. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, next.
This next one is for final reading to zone 1131 TH, Townhouse District. It did
Move to
receive-
deny.
Second.
All right, we have a motion to deny and a second. We are in discussion. This was passed last week, I believe, 8-1.
Yes, sir.
All right, the motion is to deny. Is there any discussion? I think we will need to call the roll, please.
Mr. Rambo.
No.
Mr. Rambo votes no. Mr. Ritchie.
Yes.
Mr. Ritchie votes yes. Mr. Santos.
Yes.
Mr. Santos votes yes. Ms. Whitley.
Yes.
Ms. Whitley votes yes. Mr. Chapman.
Yes.
Mr. Chapman votes yes. Ms. Corley.
Yes.
Ms. Corley votes yes. Ms. Hyatt.
Yes.
Ms. Hyatt votes yes. Mr. Iacofano.
No.
Mr. Iacofano votes no. Mayor Haney.
No.
Mayor Haney votes no.
6-3, so it is denied on second reading.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
could I ask for a parliamentary determination on if someone voted on the prevailing side, how long do they have to wait if they choose to bring the item back up?
I think I know the answer to that, but I will let the parliamentarian answer.
Talking about a motion to reconsider?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Typically, it's by the end of the meeting that would have to happen.
You
And-
get it.
I'm sorry, sir, by the end of the meeting, but since we have an agenda, it would have to be at this time.
Okay.
It's not an indefinite thing like a month from now or something. Right.
I want to find out.
Okay.
So if somebody voted on the prevailing side on 1137 Louise Terrace, they could, if they chose, to bring it back up.
Yes, that's correct, sir.
Thank you.
Next item, please.
This is final reading for the
to
development
approve.
agreement.
We have a motion to approve item B3. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor of the motion to approve, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's approved unanimously.
Final reading, ordinance number 22016.
Flipping the page, we're at item number 4, please. This is another amendment. One of us is wrong. It's probably me.
I know.
Item number 4, providing a 7th amendment on Carolina Park.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
apologize.
Okay.
Yeah, this is for the plan development amendment.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve and a second. Any discussion?
I have one.
Who was first?
Rambo?
Thumb wrestle before it.
All right, Ms. Chapman, go
That was
ahead.
Mr.
I heard
Chapman
you
was first.
first.
As I mentioned during first reading on this, there is a plan for access into this property from the rear. And that was part of the plan as it was developed for the entire Carolina Park, and you can see that on the map. The developer planning this in their present location continues to have vehicles parked in the buffer zone as late as this weekend and extensively. And I would like to ask if it's possible to have some kind of a reverter clause for this amendment if they do the same thing on this site where they're parking vehicles in the buffer zone, which they did continuously in their current site until this item came back up. Is that something that we can, and it may not pass, but something that we could do as part of this to force them to keep vehicles out of the buffer zone?
That would be either legal or for Ms. Reed question. I don't know.
Well, Mr. Chapman, the reason this was not on consent agenda was because you had a couple of conditions at first reading. It
Right.
was to, there would be no parking in the buffer, and then I think no future plans for a left turn where that median
Correct.
is. And so I think because it's a plan development amendment, and I'll let David confirm that we can attach those conditions.
Okay.
That's correct. This is not what you can consider a straight it's not a straight issue regarding zoning. It is a plan development, and therefore, if you'd like to attach conditions, it should be by amendment.
Okay, and it's on the floor right now, is that correct? Mr. Mayor?
Yes, we're in discussion.
So it's on
The
the
motion is to approve.
And I would request that we add those two amendments to make sure that we do not get left turns in or out, and that we require no parking in the buffer zone, and if it does, that entrance closes.
And let me ask for just a point of order, if I may. Is that not already covered by ordinance that you can't park in the buffer zone? That's just a matter of enforcement? Does the regulation already say you cannot park in the buffer zone?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think the part I think I'm struggling with is if they violate this condition or this zoning provision, that I don't know that would change anything in the approved plan development with that condition. Does that make sense? It's not like the amendment
Right
goes
turn
away.
goes away, yeah.
But it would be a zoning, it would be a code enforcement issue, and this would, I think,
Right, the difference being that the town would have the right to enforce within the context of the plan development. So I think it's relevant if you'd like
Yeah.
to include it.
Yes, sir, I would.
Okay, would you mind stating that again?
The amendments would be, number one, that in the future, no left turns would be made in or out of this development at location F. And number two, that in the event we have the same problem in the current location, that the direct access to 17 be closed.
And you're talking about the right turn?
Correct.
in.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So,
And I say this because enforcement had a very difficult time trying to get the vehicles out of the zoning area, or
the buffer?
the buffer area.
Okay.
And I'm just putting this in here because they worked for over 2 years to try to get the vehicles out of there.
Okay.
And we don't need that. Other dealerships were very, very well staying outside the buffer. There's no reason. And I have no problem with the type of vehicles that are sold here. When I was a teenager, I wanted a 190 SF. I didn't get it. I got a Borg Ward instead. But if you look on the internet, you'll find a Borg Ward in 1958 looked exactly like a 190 SF. Thank you.
That's not part of your motion for the,
That's not.
all right, so we have a motion for an amendment. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, we have a second. We are in discussion. This is
Mayor-
only on the amendment.
Mayor, just a point, just to clarify, and Michelle raised a good point. We just want to make sure we cannot close access for a violation. We can enforce access, we can enforce the PD, but it's a different story to close access. So I just don't want any council members to be misled that we have a right to go out and simply close it.
I understand that. I'm just trying to add it on.
Well, that would affect the second part of this amendment then.
Yes, sir.
Should we strike the second part of the amendment?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you amend your,
I amend my second.
all right, so this is, that there will be no left turns in the future. All right, we're in discussion. Yes, sir, Mr. Brown.
So again, they have to come to us to get approval for a right turn. Would they have to come back to get approval for a left turn? They can't just put a left turn in.
No, they would require SCDOT approval.
And a planned development amendment?
Yeah, it would require an amendment but it would require SCDOT approval and another amendment if they were to do that,
So,
yes.
yeah, so I guess I just don't understand the point of making it more complicated.
And, yeah, there is a
Yeah,
median
I was going to
there, so
ask,
I
isn't
don't-
there a median?
There is.
There's a median.
I don't anticipate that happening, that there would be a left turn there.
All right, who had their hand up?
Say it.
All right.
I was just
Ms.
going to
Height.
say, I think there's a median, which we had discussed in committee, that there's a median in the way.
Yes, ma'am.
So they wouldn't be able to cross the highway and make a left there.
So,
Yes, sir.
let me get clarity. So are we saying that you're wanting, maybe I misunderstood, or we took this out of the motion, that a left turn can never go there, or, because what I'm trying to understand, I get there's a median there, but I'm talking 20 years from now. If there's something, different road configuration, some type of construction going on that's gonna safely allow it, what happens then? That's what I'm just trying to understand. Or are we shutting the door on something? Well, of course, you had to come back.
Without a future amendment to this plan development agreement. So it could be amended to allow for unforeseen circumstances.
If circumstances change.
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
So I'm trying to understand.
right, good point. Okay, so this is on the amendment. We have a motion to insert this, and we have a second. All in favor of the motion for this amendment, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
No.
Okay, I think it's 5-4, but let's be careful.
No.
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 So there are 5 yeses and 4 nos? That was my, okay. So the amendment is approved. So now the next vote is on, and we already have a motion to approve the final reading as amended, right?
You have a question on that?
Yes,
That's
sir.
correct,
Okay. So we are in discussion on approval of the amendment as amended. the amended amendment.
My question is, will SCDOT, I think I brought this up before, will they be requiring what do they call that, a slowdown lane for that right-hand
decel?
turn?
A decel lane?
Decel lane, that's.
I think they
I call it
typically
slow
do,
down.
but I don't, our transportation director might be able to answer what their requirements are better than I am, but I'm not real sure.
It's up to them. They have warrant criteria for that. That's what they'll be looking at when they go to the engineer to say what you design.
Okay.
Okay.
I just think it's very important on 17 to have a decel lane. I don't know how that could be brought up. I don't.
I concur with Councilmember
Yeah.
Iacofano.
We can advocate for it, but
And I also want to add about that median. That's a very low concrete median that a large vehicle could easily drive over without any trouble. So that's why I was trying to put something in about the left turns. And in terms of DOT, when a town like Mount Pleasant approves of a opportunity for access into property, 99% of the time, they grant approval. So just so everybody understands, whatever we approve, they're probably going to authorize it. But the right turn issue hopefully can be brought up and when it goes to, does this go to DRB?
No, sir.
No.
This will not go to DRB. Not for the access. The commercial building will, but the.
all right. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I don't want to ask for an amendment. I mean, could we just recommend or ask DOT that they put a decel lane in? I mean, I'm not trying, we're not DOT, so we can't.
Right, that cannot be part of
Right.
an amendment to this request.
Right,
That is
okay.
a separate request that individual council members or the town as a whole can make to DOT.
Okay.
But as Mr. Morrison said, they're going to base it on their criteria.
Okay, excellent. Thank you for the answer.
All right. I think we're ready to vote. All in favor of the amendment as amended, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? All right. Passes unanimous.
Final reading, ordinance number 22017.
This moves us to Section 9, which is committee action items, the Economic Development Committee. I will defer to Mrs. Hyatt.
Okay, thank you. At our last meeting, let's see, the Economic Development Committee of Council met Monday, February 28th, to review the draft economic development strategy as prepared by SB Friedman. The committee received a presentation from staff outlining the 6 strategy initiatives and recommendations regarding implementation of these strategies. The committee unanimously recommended approval of the strategy to full council. So I'd like to move that town council adopt the economic development strategy as presented and begin with immediate implementation of strategies.
Move to approve.
We have a motion and we have a second.
Second.
We're in discussion. I don't see anybody raising their hand. Yes, sir. You
Yeah,
have the
Mr.
floor.
Mayor, I'm going to abstain on this because if you remember correctly, I was not able to attend the meeting because I was out sick. So being given this, just recently, I haven't had a chance to go through it, so I'm going to abstain this time.
Got it. If no one else wants to speak, yes, sir.
I do have one question. So in this report, I mean, they do recommend certain economic development, like incentives and things. What is the process then? Is staff going to then be working on some of those to come to us, or ordinance changes, or is that just, it's a recommendation in there, but it's not a real thing?
Mr. Rambo, nearly all the incentives allowed by the state of South Carolina, we already have.
That's what I thought.
So it'll be a matching of these recommendations with the incentives that we already have through committee. And then if necessary, there's a budgetary impact, a financial impact, I suspect you as chair of the finance committee will be asked as well, and then up to council.
Okay, thank you.
right?
I do have one thing.
Yes, sir. Mr.
So,
Iacofano.
I do, they came up with some key takeaways, and they were some very direct key takeaways. So I think we've got to make sure that when we pay professionals to give us a report, we really listen to these key takeaways. It's something that we heard, I know I heard these very same things when I was campaigning. I know Gary was along with me. We saw each other a lot of things in GM and Mr. Ritchie. One thing that's not mentioned in here, and I'm on economic development, and I hope to see, is a little bit more small business. There is not much mention about small business, the backbone of our community, on this economic development. So I don't know what we can do. It's great if we have these larger companies come in and these professional companies come in, but the support around those companies has to be allowed to happen. So whatever we can do. I don't know if we had, I believe we had maybe a small business liaison before. I don't know if we're going to have a small business or a business liaison before, somebody that speaks to the community. The best customer to keep is the customers you have now, the businesses that we have now in Mount Pleasant. We need to also make sure we're taking care of them and that their voice is heard, and I know staff does an excellent job with that. So I look forward to being part of this economic development. I do want to make sure we create and allow those small businesses to flourish as well within this economic development. Thank you.
I have a question. I had to miss your committee meeting. By passing this does not imply that we would be freezing our impact fees for 5 years, does it? Because that is mentioned in the report. That's a policy decision. Okay.
No, sir. This is just in concept, and it allows committee staff to start to move forward on shaping what this might look like.
Right, okay. And then as a member of the One Region Roadmap Committee, which is working with the same consultants to do this in a region-wide way, this will put us in line with the region, and I think it'll be a new day for Mount Pleasant. And Mr. Iacofano, I totally agree with what you're saying, and that this is not all we will do, but this is the framework of what we will do. We can do more. We can do other things as well, so. That's it. So we have a motion and we have a second. Any other comments? All in favor of the motion to adopt the strategy, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, it is passed, and thank you and the committee very much. This brings us to item 10, council new business. There is no new business. There is no old business. Item C under 10 is executive session for legal and contractual to discussion regarding the town administrator's evaluation, and B is discussion regarding an employment agreement for the town of Mount Pleasant General Counsel. If there is a motion to go, is there a motion to go into executive session for the two reasons stated?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Before we vote, I'm required to say that council may take action on any item, including any subsection of any section listed on an executive session agenda or discussed in an executive session during a properly noticed meeting, which this is. All in favor of the motion to go into executive session for the reasons stated, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
No.
All right. What's that?
No.
Okay, we had a no vote. All right. So the motion passes. We are in executive session. session. And again, I would like to thank our Public Services Department for keeping our air conditioner working quite well, man. I'm loving it. So no votes were cast, no action was taken. However, there may be motions resulting from the deliberations in our executive session.
Mr. Mayor?
Mrs. Corley?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I would like to make two motions. The first one being directing our town administrator to execute council's wishes from executive session. And
All right. Regarding,
regarding our legal contract.
thank you, that one. Okay. We have a motion, we have a second. Mr. Rambo has a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, the motion is approved. Next.
And before I make a motion, I just want to say a few words. We all took place in our yearly evaluation of our town administrator, and as always, he got raving reviews, and I just wanted to echo council's sentiments, and thank you so much, Eric. I know we're very lucky to have you. And yeah, thank you so much. You're the GOAT. You're the best. He is the GOAT. And now I would like to make a motion that we ask our town attorney to execute council's wishes from executive session in regards to the town
Second.
administrator.
Motion to approve.
Yep, we have a motion and we have a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. If there is nothing left before this council and we have completed our agenda, this meeting is adjourned.
Christine,
Christine, it's 8:00.
8 o'clock.